So it is Monday night. Nothing really great for dinner, but I was in the mood for wine. I didn't know what. Came downstairs, saw that I bought the Lagrein, $20, I'm pretty sure, and a few things kind of hit me. That Italy being probably my, I think I've said it before, favorite country for wine in the world, because you can, just the variety of what you can get. I mean, you could even get Cabernet Bordeaux blends that are unbelievably good. I mean, Sassicaya's rise to fame and being a really well-renowned wine is not really a mystery anymore, but is expensive wine, but great wine. But there's just tons of great Italian wines, and Piedmont being, great wine made from Nebbiolo being some of my absolute favorites, and then Brunello with foods and Sangios in general, and just the list goes on and on. I'm glad I don't have to pick one country to enjoy wines from, because one thing I don't think they do great is, probably wrong, Pinot Noir, but can't say I've had or heard of that many Italian Pinots. So this book, I read it probably a few times. Matt Kramer's Making Sense of Italian Wine, and still have tons of notes in it. I look at my, just the table of contents, I just have stuff scribbled. And on the back, I thought it was interesting. I wrote down a bunch of the wines to try, and over my, it is pretty interesting. I wrote just Aglianico del Voltore. I love Aglianicos. Arnis from Bruno Giacosa. I've tried a few Arnis. It's a white grape. It's okay. Just nothing fantastic. Barbaresco Single Vineyard. The Prudatore de Barbarescos, those are fantastic. Roagna, I've had that. Vietti's, I've had a few of those. Barbera d'Albas from Ilio Grasso, I'm sure I've had those. Again, Barolo, Bruno Giacosa. Then he's got some Grosvenor wines, which are a lot of Amphora wines that I don't know if I've tried any of his yet. I own two of his though. Valangina, Greco di Tufo, Fianos. I put in there just those three whites to try. Gattinara, which is Nebbiolo. I have one from Antoniolo, La Castel. I guess I have a few different brands. Travaglini Reserva is actually one of my favorites. I don't see it that often, but it was great. Then Montepulciano d'Abruzzo, the Illuminati brand. I wrote Riparosso, which is a very inexpensive, but I found other Illuminati Montepulciano d'Abruzzos, and they're awesome. Reboa Gialla from Grosvenor, and I actually have one of those. I've not tried it. It's a very expensive white made in Amphora, and I think it's going to be kind of like an orange wine. Solis Salentino. I can't say I've had a good one yet. Tarassi, plenty of great Tarassis. The Mastro Barandino and others. Tarodego, Elizabeth Fordori. The Granado, I've had it twice. Just, it's a nice wine. I like some of her other wines way better. I wrote Friulano, and then Ripasso from Quintarelli, and then some other producers. So I think this book was great, and a great foundation for me to get into Italian wines and just explore Italian wines. What I'm interesting to see what he says about Lagrein, and it's Trentino Alto Adige, northern Italy near the Austrian border. And I'm just going to skim it. If there's anything worth mentioning. So there were a few recommended. I don't know. This is Kupelweiser, and I guess because of its proximity to Austria, you have some producers, German producers probably, in that area, because some of these wines absolutely sound like they have German names. And this book is old. So this book is from, let's see, 2006. So these wines may not even be the same, it may not even be attainable. I think I looked for a while, didn't find any. Like, I've highlighted, you can't really see it, but where I wanted to explore these specific ones that he mentioned. He recommended some. He did this thing in here which I thought was cool, where what was it? He kind of recommended, is it worth trying or not type of thing. And it's like, no, absolutely worth searching for. Absolutely worth an effort. So he wrote that. And then something like Brunello, it would be like, make sure you have this type of thing. Which totally makes sense. Anyway, I'm not going to go... Alcohol. This is a 2022, so very young. I think that reads 13. Pretty dark. Let's see. I wouldn't... Right now, I wouldn't even know what to guess. At all. And it's not giving me a ton, so I'm going to see if I can trap a little. I like the aroma. It's got a sort of a blackberry pudding thing. It's blackberry cream. That's the only thing I'm getting right now. It smells like it's going to be luscious, if that makes sense. No earth. Just a lot of blackberry. So, it's a nice wine. For $20, this is good. I would buy 2 more of these to have on a weekday. There's a little bit of like a baking spice on the finish, a little bit like a white pepper. There's blackberry on the front of the palate, raspberry. Acidity, kind of medium, maybe medium minus. It's not very acidic. I think that's what's bugging me the most about this. And the tannin is medium minus. I'm not even detecting much tannin at all. So I think that's why... That's why I'm not loving it. I was craving a Pinot Noir today, which is just too funny. Now that I got in this little half Pinot Noir kicking having at Martinelli, I am just craving another good one. Yeah, there's not a lot of guts to this. I guess I want to use the word, it's kind of simple. It's kind of a simple weekday red, very easy drinking. This is... easy drinking red. Looks like it's going to be bolder than it is, but the tannins are very low. This has low tannin for red. And I'd say medium minus acidity. I feel like if it had more acidity, more tannin, it might just have more guts. Now, I don't know what Lagrein of the grape is supposed to be or not be, to be honest. I could go get my other wine, my book about wine grapes by Jancis Robinson, but... Oh, or could I just see what Matt Kramer says? I don't know what to expect of this. Yeah, it's got a lighter taste and body, but it looks like it's darker. I guess because it's got an extraction to it, or maybe that's just how the grape is. It's decent. This one's decent. I would love to try. I always like to try a better expression, a better sort of higher quality of every type of new grape region I'm exploring, just to see what it can do when you maybe give it more respect, more treatment, maybe make it a smaller batch, a single vineyard, whatever it may be, to escalate it to that next level. Like, I want something else. Like, this wine's fine, but I kind of want something else. Especially something with a little bit of acidity. I definitely need more acidity in my wine than this has. I wanted to say the word flabby, but it's not flabby. It's just that I think the acidity is low and the tannins are low. Just an easy drinking red. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. And rating wise doesn't really matter, but... And I take it back, I would not buy any more of these. I think after I've been sitting with it now, I'm not interested. I'll go buy something else I'll go buy the Rioja 1,000 times over this wine. The one I gave wine of the year for 2023, only because the price quality in this bottle is outrageous. Outrageous. So I'm gonna pause, see if I can find another wine, because this isn't gonna work tonight. So from that same wine trip, I have another inexpensive red. Bought a Morelino di Scansano, and this is a Reserva Tempo. I think I mentioned when I bought this in my wine. What I don't like is that they really stick this made with organic grapes like around the label. Like, it's just sort of not my thing. It's fine if you're doing organic, but just sort of don't like that big, it's hitting you right in the face type of thing. What I don't remember right this minute is what region this is from, but won't worry about that for today. I'm not sure if I should just open this whole bottle or go with a Corv and pour and see how it is, because I got this Lagrein open, but I'm not... The more I pontificate about that wine, the less interested I'm in that. Just, it's not going to give me the enjoyment I want. And I just poured out that Chianti from the other day that was just a mess. I'm just opening this bottle because I can't drink that. I could, I just don't really want to. Wish I had like a red wine sauce or something to make. But without the acidity, I feel like it's a bit of a letdown. So legit cork, and not that it should matter, but this has got, I call this cork composite, and this is really, cork from the bark of the tree. You could tell it's just cut differently. And it doesn't necessarily mean much, except that they're probably expending a little bit more money on this wine in general to be putting a real cork in it. Is there really any indication of quality? I don't know. I kind of like to see that. My own personal preference. But what vintage is this? 19, which, gosh, I don't even know the region right this minute. Might be Tuscany, but I could be dead wrong. Well, this smells like Sangio. I get a tomato leaf. I'm getting cherry, cedar, no licorice. This smells great. So this aroma is awesome. A little bit of black cherry. I mean, that's wine. That destroys the last wine. Oh, that's good. Shit, that's good. Okay, that's a rebuy. That is terrific, and that is what I've been looking for from the Chianti Classico Reserva is starting to go up. The Chianti Classico Grand Section is already expensive, and then some of the Chianti Classicos are kind of just okay. This Morelino di Scansano is sort of a unheralded region in the United States, maybe more heralded in Italy, but I kind of forgot about it from my studies and read an article about it recently. Kind of just, as soon as I saw it and I saw Reserva, and there's rules for the Reserva. This is a 14.5% alcohol wine. This has guts. I think this wine was like $20, maybe less. I think it might have been less than the Lagrein. This is awesome. So this has the acidity. This has I got to do this again. Let's see. I just was too excited that. What I like is there's a little bit of fennel coming out, and I love that in a red wine. Love when a little fennel comes out, just a touch. When truffle comes out too, you get truffle and fennel in the same wine. Oh, you hit the jackpot. This has good tannin, medium plus acidity. So it's complex on the nose, complex on the palate. Everything on the nose is on the palate. I think a good rule of thumb is when you become a little more educated and say you take a wine class and it's about getting the aromas, and sometimes you need a flavor wheel to just build that vocabulary, that knowledge base of terms to remember, to then taste them numerous times, and then it hits you. But when something has six or more aromas, and those aromas come through in the flavor, and maybe you add an extra aroma or add an extra flavor, whatever it is, I think that's a good indication of a high quality wine because it's doing so much. When a wine only has a feel, like the Lagrein I couldn't say that much about, and it's proof positive right there in this side by side. And this was an unintended side by side. I just don't really enjoy that. I might let that open up in a glass, but I don't think it's going to do anything because it's just the tannin and acid aren't there. So how's it going to evolve to be better? Sometimes you add the oxygen to reduce maybe the bite of a tannin, or maybe that sting of the acid. This doesn't have either. So what the hell am I reducing? What's it going to open up into? I don't know. This is amazing. This is amazing. This is on par with so if that's my 2023 right now, this is my 2024 wine of the year because of price and quality. Of course, $100 bottle of amazing Sangio Brunello is gonna be amazing, but great. It's nothing to brag about. Well, it is, but it isn't. I think what's better to brag about and is to find these little gems, I think, these diamonds in the rough. In regions like this, and I really should know more about this. This might be a region, I don't know. You know what? I got the Italian book right next to me. Page 171. Another long video. It's Tuscany, so I was right about that. And a minimum of 85% Sangio, at least from 2006. So why they call it Morelino di Scansano, I don't know. This is Tempo. So while worth searching for, his recommendation was only if you see it. Because there's so much great Sangio in Italy, I think this is sort of, at least back then, wasn't something you would seek out. But this wine's awesome. And this, I wrote it in my note on my phone, super note, whatever the heck it's called, that if I find some more Morelinos, I'd like to try a few more. I went with the Vino Noble de Reservas, and I've tried numerous, and none of them have ever really been a good equivalent to a nice Chianti Classico Reserva or something that's really extra special, especially for the price, and some of them get a little higher. This, I'm going to get the price, and I'll talk about it next time. I'm not going to forget this. So, I'm glad I opted for another bottle tonight. God, it's good. I mean, it's all it's all the classic Sangio flavors. A little bit of black licorice, you know, that fennel. This is only going to get better as it opens up. I wouldn't age this a whole heck of a lot. It's very drinkable right now. You could age it a little bit more. I don't like over-aging my reds, but I love over-aging my whites. Meanwhile, it's probably done in reverse everywhere, but I like a little bit of tannin to my wine. But I've had some really great aged reds that just are, God, unbelievable. 20-year reds, aged appropriately, are phenomenal. I take it back. They're aged phenomenally. So there's so many. But I just read a whole article on Rioja. Rioja's age amazingly. That acidity and the Tempranillo grape. Sangios absolutely do. Barolo, Barbaresca, Nebbiolos do. Cabernet obviously does. You know, I guess I'm wrong. And I erase everything I said for 2 minutes about aging reds. Oh, it's so good. Just so good. It's 14.5% alcohol. It's well balanced, and it's not heavy. It's not a heavy Sangio for this amount of alcohol. I thought maybe with the alcohol being this high, and let me make sure I'm not wrong about the percentage here. I'm almost positive I read 14.5 somewhere. This claims it's some type of like possible single vineyard, although, yeah, 14.5. I was a little nervous it might be heavy, but it's not. The acidity really lifts the wine to make it lighter tasting. You drink half a bottle of this, you're going to feel it though. But this is tremendous. Well, I've waxed poetic enough. I didn't use the Corvin. I didn't need to. The Lagrein, I'll give another shot later. I'll update on both of these wines. I'm gonna enjoy this with some cheese now, and that's a wrap.